one thing that makes everyone feel nervous is asking questions. I hate asking questions. I hated asking questions in an academic setting because my imposter syndrome was really having me at that time, and I just feel like I couldn't ask a good question. So I've gone and I found some great, interesting articles and research from lots of different places that talks about what are great questions and how do you ask them, right? So this is just some advice. So the first thing is obviously listen. Making sure that you've listened to everything that person is saying and you're not asking them a question about something they've just said, is really important. But make sure you also ask open-ended questions. So not just questions that answers are yes or no, but that allow the person to kind of tell you more. What is it, when you've heard that person speak, what part of that did you feel like, I wish I heard more about this thing? You've told me like X, Y, Z, and I want to hear like XA and XB and XC, right? Like the little bits in between, because I found that so interesting. You can hone in on that. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. So I did say listen, right? So don't just ask them about something they've already said, but that doesn't mean you don't ask for clarification. If someone said something and you didn't understand it, or you wanted more detail, or you weren't really sure, this is the whole point, right, of this workshop. So don't be afraid to ask about that, because again, chances are that if you're not sure, most people are in the room, or at least a few other people won't be sure. Like this was a great example here when you asked, like, what's this presentation meant to? One person in this group asked, what's the presentation meant to be about? And then I heard like nodding and like yeses over here, because there were multiple people who had the same question. So that's always great. Don't feel the need to give like a long preamble or explanation about why you're asking this question, right? You want to give the speaker as much time as possible to answer it. So you feel free. You don't need to like say, oh, I'm asking this because I have this background and I'm not sure and this and that. And by the way, I have my question. Like just go to the question and that's cool. Don't put yourself down, right? There's no need to say, I'm not very smart, so I didn't really understand what you're saying. Or whatever that might be for you. You don't need to do it, so you don't do it. And on the other hand, do make sure you're asking questions and not making comments. I know that some of the older people in the room may really feel me on that one, but there's a lot of places where you go where people will say, it's more of a comment really rather than a question. That's cool. If it's a discussion section, then that's what they want. But if it's a question section, that they want questions. So think about them as questions, want to find out more information. And this is a big one, right? Someone said about not being sure how to like get those words out right in the beginning. I'm like that. I don't know how to formulate the question right out of my mouth, So I always write it down so that I kind of can almost read it. Everyone will be different, but feel free to do that.